now. So just breathe and get a sense of your physical body right here in this present moment of time. Feel it being held here on the planet in whatever space you're in. Your body is right here, right now. Breathe and let that breath bring your focus, bring the mind energy right here, holding it in the body in this present moment. We sit in the sacred space of sovereignty, connected to that greater plan of restoring all life forms to the resonance of their divine home and original divine family agenda of good. We are the touch point, the earth point, the physical point of that mission, of that purpose. And we are respectful of that assignment. And we are so honored to be involved and part of teams of intelligent, creative, magnificent beings beyond our understanding, of which we are a part. So we gather here with the intention to travel to wherever we are guided to travel, to accomplish that outcome of restoring the vibrations of our home, our original divine family's agenda, to their resonance of all good in its many, many facets. We are held and cocooned within the guardian circle, within the energy field of the sun and Mother Earth, foundationed on the sacred triad, divine feminine of Gaia, Sophia, and Grace. We are not alone. So our circle is set. We are here, ready. And we are now prepared. And so it is. So good morning, everyone. Welcome, Emma, Tina, coming in. And we're going to, first of all, in our time travel circle, we put ourselves into the circle by simply saying who we are, where we are on the planet, what it is we bring to the circle in this moment of time. The intention, of course, is to identify whatever needs to be shifted, changed, or removed from, prevented from being inserted, and that would and has caused disruptions. But we're here, first of all, to present ourselves and make ourselves known into the circle. And we usually do that by, I'll start and that person tag the next. So Carol, would you start, please?
Okay, I'm Carol on Whidbey Island, northwest of Seattle. What do I bring today? A little unsettled energy, so that's not what I want to bring. How about a budding desire for more fun, more music, more dance? I've been playing the flute so much more with pure intuition, and I don't know what it sounds like, but it feels good. So I am complete for now. I will tag Sue.
Good morning. I'm Sue. I'm in Issaquah, just east of Seattle. Overcast, cloudy, gloomy, but I am bringing gratitude to the center. I've been focusing on gratitude for a week, and I can feel changes happening in me, and I'm excited about those changes. So that's what I'm offering and bringing today. And Cinda?
Okay, I'm Cinda. I am in Westland, south of Portland, and I am going to bring into the circle a spoken word of grace, as well as ping it into the Ethernet. So, and I'm going to bring Tina. Hey, Tina.
And I couldn't get it on my computer, so it's on my phone, so I can't see other participants. So when I tag, who knows? I'm Tina. I'm from Southeast Portland. And I bring into the space today this sense of connecting to the positive energy that surrounds us through nature, through the clouds, through the kitty cat next door. But it's connecting to that positive natural energy that's around all of us, no matter where we're at. And I'm going to connect to the next person that has maybe a T name, because I can't see any participants on my phone. Is there another T person?
Well, I would say that would be Susan Therese.
That works. That works. That works.
Or Tara.
Tara. Yeah, Tara's a T. How about Tara and then Susan Therese? Thanks, Cinda.
This is Tara. I am from Renton, Washington, a little bit southeast of Seattle. I am bringing today integrity and truth, most especially within the medical field and how they are proceeding. I am coming to that perspective from my daughter, who is a student athlete at a college, and they are going through testing and quarantining and testing and quarantining despite negative testing. And it's a roller coaster for them. And if I add into that mental wellness, I'm complete. Susan Therese, is that who that is? Next.
That's me, a little bit of tea there. Good morning. I'm Susan Therese. I'm here in the Midwest in Byron, Illinois, and I'm going to add peace and joy into the circle. And I will tag Kelly.
Good morning, everyone. Upon awakening this morning, I was blessed by this kaleidoscope on white of golden sacred geometry. Just this beautiful show and tell. And it was lovely and heavenly, and I felt like it was such a beautiful gift. So with that, I'm bringing the gift of that into the spaciousness, and the codex of the sun, and I am complete, and I will tag Emma.
Good morning, everyone. Is my microphone working today? Yay. I'm Emma, and I am in Northwest Massachusetts, and it is a beautiful autumn day. The mountains are filled with color. It's unseasonably warm, so I have my air conditioning on, and that's kind of nice and kind of sucky. And I am bringing into the circle blossoming health. And I will tag Kala.
Good morning. I'm sorry that I'm not coming up on the screen. It didn't give me that option again. It used to before we switched over, so I don't understand that technology as to why I can't have that option. But boy, it's sunny here at Skagit Valley in Washington. Beautiful sunshine. It's cold though. It's really cold. So it's nice to have a bright day. Feels good. I'm going to bring in harmony. We really need harmony right now. So I call that in grace. So And I don't even have all the people up on the screen here to know who hasn't spoken other than Sharon.
I think I'm the only one. Thanks, Carla. Beautiful, beautiful beginning morning here on Whidbey Island. I went out in bare feet. It was a little chilly, but it wasn't too bad because I made a medicine wheel next to my pyramid because we're doing some really good binding magic ceremonies, and I wanted to anchor those kind of energies into that space. So I'm bringing the power of now, of shift into what it is we are in truth. And glad you're all here today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite Kelly to go through a presentation about bind runes, because it's very, it's, you know, she knows that well. I've been getting the word bind, and it's really, I think, going to up the power of what we are doing and making us understand the power of what we're doing. So Kelly, I'm turning it over to you.
Thank you. All right, so my education with bind runes really began in my shamanic studies of the Norse cosmology. And bind runes really are the utilization of the Elder Futhark runes by invoking powers that lie and intentions that lie within each rune. Each rune has a corresponding energy. The thing about bind runes is that they're high magic spells. They can be considered a spell, but it's always about the intention within which you're creating them, right? So whatever intention it is. So when I've created bind runes for myself or even other people, which kind of goes along with helm work, which is a completely different topic, it's really always being clear around the intention. So it's not about casting a spell of having somebody fall in love with you or anything of that nature. It's casting a spell on good health and things of those things. So one of the biggest bind rune that is known throughout the world is actually the Bluetooth symbol. It is a bind rune that actually came from Harald Bluetooth. He was an old Viking many years ago. And it was a combination really of the ancient language, because runes are one of the first languages used. It was an H and a B. So Harald Bluetooth in Viking letters. It was a younger Futhark and an older Futhark, regardless of that. But what has been happening for me recently is realizing through these calls and conversations and my own journey and experiences is that we can repurpose the energy. So when I looked at the Bluetooth symbol recently, it's like, oh my gosh, let's utilize that to help broadcast all these beautiful things that we're doing. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and walk you through kind of how this bind rune looks. Can everybody see it?
Mm-hmm.
And now what you're going to see, oops, let's try again. Hold on just a second. Let me go back over here. Oh, guys, hold on. Okay, let's try this. Okay, now can everybody see it? Okay, so let me go on presentation. Okay, so there are a number of runes that are in the bind rune of the Bluetooth. So I'm just going to walk you through how I interpret them and have repurposed it. So this first rune is the rune of Isa. Isa is one of the most powerful runes in the Futharks. It's the rune of transformation. It's ice. It's stillness. It's like the beginning of time in a way. So there's the first rune, and then the second rune I'm going to share is the rune of Kenaz. Kenaz is like a flashlight, seeing in the dark, or the future, you know, being able to look forward and see things. The next rune would be the rune of Berkana. Berkana is represents the birch tree. It represents spring on the wheel, but it's also birth, the mother, new beginnings. Laguz is the rune of love. It also represents water and flow and emotion. Wenjo is the rune of success. So it's like even when we stake our flag to be seen, that's our Wenjo, that's our flag. That's how we are identified in the cosmos by our flag. Another rune that's not present that I forgot to put in here is the rune of Gibo, and that's the X that's in the middle. And you'll see it as we go through the actual flow and how I interpret the bind rune now to read. And in the center of Gibo, to me, is like the center of creation. That's where everything begins. Okay, so we begin with Isa, and then you have Kinaz facing towards the past. So it's like a looking glass. This is what history has shown us. This is what we know has happened. But then if we look forward, what does our future look like? And this is where you see the rune of Gibo, the X right on top of Isa. And in the center, to me, that is what is like, here we are in the beginning. Let's see what we can do looking forward. What can we do? So then the next one, of course, would be the Bluetooth. And within that, or the Berkana, you'll see there's Laguz right here. And then you have Wunjo right here. So that's the energy within which now I certainly look, and we're all trying to look at that. We've actually put it into place. The thing about bind runes is they're high magic. They're super powerful. You can also create a tonation to go along with a bind rune, a song or a sound. And I'm trying to figure out exactly what the right tonation is with that. I just want to show another bind rune. I know that Susan has a bind rune. This is a bind rune that I created for my shamanic journey. And this is a bind rune of protection. So this is something that I'll often use if I'm traveling. Just depends on the type of traveling I'm doing. But this is a bind rune of Tiwaz, Othel, which is our ancestors, and Thoraz. Thoraz is a thorn or Thor's energy. And by the use of Othel and Tyr, I am protected from being attacked during travels. So this is an example of a bind rune that I've put into practice through my shamanic studies. But bind runes can be a multitude of things utilizing your intentions, etc. So I'm complete. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. What I realized because I kept forgetting the word bind, I asked Kelly, to share, because I'd heard her say bind runes. That's why I asked her to share that information into one of our circles. And I realized that what we have been doing and creating pretty extensively are in various ways elements of magic, but we've never claimed the magic of it, if you will. And so that's what I wanted us to have in all of our circles, the understanding of the bind runes as coming with something very specific. What's your intention is really, really important, what you bring to it. And that you can use not just the runes, but you can use other kinds of language too, with intentions. Then when you bind them together, like weaving them together into a symbol, like Kelly said, it's high magic. And so yesterday, what we did in the Women's Remaking the World Circle, I invited all of us to really get clear about what that was, what it was for us, what the element was, what is that, what that we call Women Remaking the World. And I don't know if those were the bind runes around that, Cinda and Therese, but be aware that what we can do and what we are doing is something extremely powerful. What I wanted to just share is how I created a bind rune, because Deep Six is a very powerful command, but when you take it into that magic realm and make it a glyph about it. It's a bind glyph, or here the guardian circle, a bind glyph. And that adds another layer of power and clarity in our word, to our word. So with that in mind, Carol, go ahead.
Question. Around the, I know it's just semantic, but around the concept of bind, because the first thing that I get with bind is it's kind of a negative connotation to me. It's an enclosure, it's a prison, you're bound by something. But what I'm hearing is that it's bind, like put two things, three things together. Is that, Kelly, could you speak to that? Those two meanings.
Well, I think that, in many ways you are looking, it depends on how it's being used, right? It's always about the intention. So I have had folks that have come for lots of different things for work, copper work specifically, that I may understand what their intention is, but when I create it, I am imbuing a different intention within that creation. So as a block. So yes, I think that you can look at it like a bind if you want to stop something or adhere something, like a magnet, and let's bring all that negative energy to this and keep it. So yes, you can look at it like that, but it is about the weaving and the binding of what your intention is in that moment. So I think high magic, if you use the term high magic, can be utilized in so many different ways because it's repurposing the energy of the intention and of the use of whatever it is that you're working with. Does that kind of answer it? And Sharon may have more expansiveness on that.
So it's putting the intention with a symbol, with something visible. Is that
Yeah.
the bind?
It really is. But like in runic and shamanic studies, there is a long history of intentions or tonations and things that are used with each symbol. So, if you use symbology that was important to you, maybe it's Egyptian or something of that nature, whatever that may be, and you create something that imbues those energies together for a specific outcome, then that would be a bind. That would be a bind.
Okay.
And then there's the chanting and the galder. If you think of like when we channel, because we're all channeling, and we may be channeling a tonation, that could be enhancing the intention of a bind. And it could be just in your mind. It could be enhancing something through the universal calibration or recognition of your voice in the ethers.
Okay, thank you.
One thing, what we are also understanding that we're doing is we're repurposing is one of the words. We are taking back our words. We're taking back our words or words and putting meaning to them as we intend them to be. So, for example, we may not use the word God, but nevertheless, God is used a lot. So we put a different meaning on God, which was grace of the divine. That's what that word means. So it's like weaving, so taking backwards, bind what does it mean to you? To us, it means weaving something together to create something that's very powerful, very magic, very stable and solid. It would be in music, it would be like how the difference between having, two or, one key, but then when you add other keys to it, it expands the weaving, it expands what it's able to do. Is that helpful?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So here's what I'm going to suggest today. There are millions of people on the planet, and that's not even all of our soul's numbers. In our original birthing from home state, as I was told, and I'm using the galactic landscape information, there were 7 galactic families, 7 galactic families. Every one of those families had millions and millions and millions of consciousnesses in that collective group who have continued to expand or stretch and birth, and some of them are on the planet. not everyone, not all of them ever are on the planet. Most of them exist in those worlds that I call galactic, whether we call them Arcturians or Platonians or whatever, you know, they're part of our family, but they've never been on the planet. And yet what happens in their worlds impact us. What happens on the planet impacts them. And we're here experiencing the very densest, the most negative expression of, you know, the most negative patterns. That's what we're experiencing on the planet. So if we get that message of that negativity manifested, our job is to say, no more. Deep six, clear the pattern. But we're not clearing it for ourselves only. We're clearing it for the entire family, you know, galactic genetic. You with me? So it occurred to me the other day that, oh my gosh, I mean, I got involved with some conversations of women who are in Al-Anon, and that's very difficult. And I've also been in conversations with women who are in domestic violence situations, and I'm going, how can we ever work with all these individuals quickly enough to make a change, not only just for them, but for mass consciousness? So it stops. And then I was reminded of our galactic families up here, where we can work with 7 that will impact billions. So instead of working with millions to impact the billions that are in small groups, they said, go back to the concept of working in the 7 groups. Okay, you with me now? You still with me? Okay, so what I realized is that I added the bind information to it, where very often, and Kelly, you can correct me if I'm wrong, very often a symbol has been created. I'll use the Nordic traditions, Celtic tradition. A symbol has been created that is a bind rune, we'll say, and it's placed over a home for protection, joy, stability, whatever it is, and it's placed on the home. That isn't uncommon, correct? What if, and then I realized that the ownership that has been expansive of the dominators who have the ownership energy, we own you, we'll manipulate you whatever you want to, has been left unchallenged for eons, and we are now challenging it and saying no more, ownership gone. And we do that. One of the ways we do it is with the guardian circle. Correct? The guardian circle protocol surrounds the space. It says any outsider in the space is identified and removed. Any outsider energy coming toward the space is caught, identified, and removed back to their home. Cleared, extinct, not here anymore. And so I thought, well, what if we did a bind, a bind, that's why I'm calling them bind glyphs, because they're not runes. That's not what the language, but what if we did a bind glyph for guardian circle, and we placed it in every one of the 7 families? So that's what I'm going to do today, unless I'm directed differently. But what if you, whatever you're directed to, don't take it right back to the families and see these 7 families, and that's where you time travel to put your correction or direction or whatever you're called to do right there in the families. 7 different places. You with me? Now that's a suggestion, and as we all know, once suggestions are made, then we all get with our team and they take us where they take us, and we usually end up doing something magnificent that's very united anyway. But anyway, I want to put that out there. And before we travel, I'll just open it up if there's anything any of you want to say. And when we travel, and Tina, for you and assuming with, you're a little bit aware of what we do, what we're going to do is then just go into a quiet guided meditation, and we'll see what happens with each of us. So anything that you want to say before we start, just open up your mic and share.
Hi, it's Kella. Can you explain to me the 7 groups, the 7 families?
I'll just explain to you that to that degree, Kala, and we can talk offline. But what I was told is, though that extending from home, there wasn't just one group that extended from home, what we call source, and ended up here on the planet. That really there are 7 different families. So that's the different groups, and each of those groups extended from home with their own unique agenda, and it was all about agendas to experience aspects of home or of good. So a couple had agendas to experience all the expressions of what we call joy, inner peace, of some curiosity, let's try anything. Some wanted to be in that position of kind of leading the way, staying clear. Some wanted to experience that inner intuition energy, and I'm putting words to it, to the vibrational songs, if you will, based on earth experience, and I could also use colors or a number. But each of those 7 family groups had an original agenda, their choice, and it was all about experiencing good. And all of them got infiltrated by outsiders and have come together into this experience on earth to eliminate the outsiders so they can get back to their agenda. So that's probably all I'm going to say about it. Okay, Kala? But
Oh, that's great. Thank you. That's very helpful.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, journal, paper handy. So take a breath. With our circle has been set, we have affirmed our alignment to that greater plan. We invite those of our personal team that will travel with us today to be with us, present with us. So get a sense of who is traveling with you, guiding you today. And feel their wisdom, their delight, their security for you, their love. They bring great clarity. We are here. We know there is that greater plan, and we have a role to play. So be with your group, your team. Travel. And when you've complete, bring back, when you're ready, to your space, the experience to be written, and then we'll share. So we'll see you in a bit.
Timeline continuum. So it's like, it's just like this one forever journey that I'm on right now. And so I just drew this was yesterday, where the sun rays are coming down. So I love the fact that you have them from the top, I have them coming down. And then this is something else that came in a while ago, and I just redrew it. But I wanted to share, so what I'm integrating this energy, and I'm referring, so much of it is the golden rays of the sun. And so when we were sitting here, I remembered my mom knitted a beautiful gold coat. And it's beautiful, and I've kept it all these years. Oh my gosh, so when we're sitting here, I'm being called to my closet to get out this beautiful gold cloak to wear during my journey. So I did, but may I show it to you? I just wanted to explain it before I popped on and you saw me in what I was dressed like, because I am like and something miraculous happened to me during it, and I can't really necessarily explain. I just am in awe because I feel like my mom has been guiding me all this time, and I'm just now putting the puzzles together. Okay, so I'm going to step out and then I'll come back in because that's the best way for me to do it. So hold on just a second. Thanks for your patience. Oh my gosh, this was just such an amazing emotion-filled experience that was happening. So I'm going to look really silly. That's why I needed to share that silliness first. Okay, so keep in mind this is wool, and she knitted this in the 60s. And it has I know, right? It has a silk insert that has fallen out that I need to take to, I mean, it's beautiful. My mom dressed to the nines. She used to make her own. So it's long. It's a long cloak that is just hand knit. It's just gorgeous. And it smells like my mom, which is cigarette smoke. But so this is how I journeyed. And oh my gosh, I'm going to have to make this part of this is part of my integration of this energy. So thank you for allowing me to share. I'm complete. I'm just full of great emotion and awe. So thank you. Cinda.
Oh, Kelly, that is amazing. Oh my God, that is so cool. That is so freaking magical. I can't wait to see it in person. Oh my God, I am so touched. And I have your mother's stone and I have the Mother Mary candle for your mama. So she's present here too. That's beautiful. Oh my gosh. Okay, you guys, I figured something out. I figured out why my team is who they are. Why Walter Cronkite, Wayne Dyer, Albert Einstein, and my father, Dr. Kenneth Stevens, keep showing up, and they're my invisible team that I would travel with. Because we decided to go back to the beginning, to the divine families. And well, first of all, we all gathered and I told my team what we needed to do, and that they were all part of a lineage and that they needed to remember the intention of their divine family. And so Walter Cronkite obviously was about truth, clarity, and leadership. And so he went in and pulled out his symbol, and I tapped in and I tried to see it, but I can't do that. So nothing was shown to me, but he presented it. And then Wayne Dyer said, well, of course, I'm all about peace and divine love. So he pulled out his glyph. And then Einstein went, well, I'm all about creativity, curiosity. I'm all about the curiosity. So he pulled out his multi-dimensional glyph. And then my dad, who was so sensitive and so creative, he pulled out his sensitivity and his creative glyph. But his intention was all about remembering the wholeness in the medical field, Tara, about, mind, body, and spirit, and how we have to heal the whole in order to heal whatever ailment we have. And then I'm just there bouncing off the walls in joy. Yay, joy, joy, joy. So Susan, you and I are sisters. So we go back to the beginning, and we're sitting there and we have a consultation with the royal family. So of course they're all in purple, and they want to meet these men. And so they say why they're there and what the intention is, and they're like, please go for it. So they had their individual meetings with each divine family, and each divine family accepted the glyph, the binding of the intention to their mission. And they and it presented itself in either a branding, a tattoo, or like, the swallowing or the encompassing. So it, like, anyway, every single individual had it in them or on them in some way. And so then we pulled them kind of, throughout time and all the way up to the current moment. And we anchored in each of the men and myself. We anchored in the family, and we sort of put a beacon out of the binding rune. So Einstein was, calling to his peeps, and he's saying, okay, now it's time to reveal your intention, reveal your binding. Let's get this curiosity about science and about nature and about, the connection between God and earth and all that. Let's get it activated. Let's get it activated. And as he did so across the globe, all those that were part of this divine family were waking up with either the vision of the glyph in their head or a birthmark that magically appears on their body, but they were all waking up. Same with Wayne Dyer. We are of peace. Those of you that are of peace, wake up, wake up, wake up. And across the globe, people were waking up with the vision of the glyph in their head or a birthmark or a tattoo or a drawing that they had to do that were connecting them. And then same with my dad with curiosity, and same with Walter Cronkite with truth and clarity across the globe. And then me with joy. I think I was jumping on a trampoline. And so it was just amazing, because then I could pull back and I could see across the globe these little, these kind of lights that were all of a sudden waking up in their individual divine colors that were also emanating the binding of the original glyph that came throughout time to wake them up to their calling, really. So there are people across the globe that are waking up to their calling, being led by Walter Cronkite, Wayne Dyer, Ken Stevens, and Albert Einstein. Oh, and Cinda. Okay, there we go. So I'm done. I'm complete, Tara.
Oh my gosh, I just love this. I love this. This is so amazing. Listening to you all. Thank you. I had a vision right away. I'm not familiar with runes at all, so I have no idea what I saw. But this, can you see it? That one right there. That's the rune that I saw. I don't know what it means. It's just what I saw. And so I was taking it up, 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 but the X sort of spun around that center spindle and turned into a helicopter. And it brought me up, and then the upside down V, I was underneath it and I was holding on, I don't know, like an umbrella. I was holding on, and it was protecting me from whatever was happening as we were ascending. And I reached my destination. It was beautiful. It was a gorgeous painted sunset. And there were a bunch of invisible to the eye, but I could see it. It was almost like suction cups with some sort of a sensory device, like a thread with a cross on it. And there were hundreds and hundreds of them. And I needed to find the one. What was I looking for? I needed to find mine wherever I was supposed to deliver this message. And then I realized that I wasn't supposed to just deliver it to one. So I'm muscle testing, like, how many do I need to find? 7. So I found all 7, and it was almost like, as I gathered each one of them, it was like looking up. As I looked up, it looked like a bunch of balloons from the bottom, except that they were all clear, and I was really just seeing a sunset. So it was just like how do you explain? It was like an invisible image I could see and nobody else could see. Anyway, I gathered all of the strings and I was holding them, and just by holding them, I delivered the message, and the message was received, and I was gently floated back down here. So that was my experience. I hope.
Tara, can you show that to
Yes.
me again? Mind if I just look at it again?
Absolutely, thank you.
So it's interesting because, you know, you've got that Gibo, the helicopter, if you will. And then you've also got Tyr, which is what you had over your head, which is protection, really. That's really powerful, really, really beautiful. And when Gibo, was it a cross, like a church cross, or cross like an X? Like a cross,
It was an
like-
X. It was an X. And then it spun.
Yeah.
And turned into the helicopter.
And then, but you saw them like this, right? They were then like this in the air, like a cross.
Yes. It turned like this and it was spinning. So it was spinning around.
Yeah.
To.
Yeah, interesting, because that would be crossroads, you know, like if the Gibo, the X is then like this, it's like a decision needs to be made, right? What is your decision? You're at a crossroads. How are you going to choose to move forward? So these 7, you know, is that how they were found by this? Is that my interpretation?
Well, yeah, I mean, so this is what I saw.
Yeah.
And holding on right here, and then
Yeah.
this pivoted.
Yep.
And
Gotcha.
turned into the helicopter to spin round and round this way.
Really beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Sue.
Okay, so first I have to turn my music on because it transports me to a different dimension. And as soon as I got there, I saw all the families as supporting and clearing and transforming human consciousness. But that was, what I did was what I saw was code love went out. And because we're all in one consciousness, it's an energy field, and those of a higher consciousness are aware of all levels of consciousness, and they can be on all levels of consciousness. So I wasn't worried about anything. So code love went out, and it was instant awareness and interest. What can we do? And so the code love was the collective consciousness of humanity is stuck in fear. All these levels of fear and all these forms of fear. And I didn't, and I wasn't supposed to put out hate or jealousy or violence, any of that, because it's all in the collective of fear. So code love went out, everyone tuned in, and that was, I don't know if it was millions or billions, it was just mass awareness. And the intention was placed in the collective human consciousness of fear. It's like thick quicksand oil. It's a trap. And so then I could feel this collective consciousness focusing all their attention. And my visual was a cosmic womb. And in the cosmic womb is what I call the vacuum of space. That's where, to me, a transformation happens. So I sat there in the cosmic womb, encompassing all of planet Earth and all of the energy, the low energies contained around and in on planet Earth. And we held it until it started to shift. And then when there's been sufficient shift, some start adding in the frequency of gratitude. So on my chart, I made myself a chart last week because I'm a visual. Fear is like, it's so low. It's like 100. And when you get down to like 5, you're leaving planet Earth. I don't know at what point you're leaving planet Earth, but 100 is really low. And gratitude is up here at 900. So if they are adding in the frequency of gratitude as the fear decreases and breaks up and starts transforming, then we're going to have not just a shift of energies, but a new energy brought into the human consciousness. So I was watching that, and I was just enjoying it. I was just enjoying it and thinking, oh my God, this is what we are doing. And I didn't have to worry about, am I taking away from the group because everybody else is tapping into the group? And it's like, oh, get over yourself. There are so many levels, and those who they can be in one place and 100 places all at once. It just, what we don't understand happens all the time, and we don't have to worry about it. So they're in many places on many levels, working all the time, but the collective focus was just mind-blowing. It was so powerful. So thank you for being here. Emma, have you shared yet?
All right. So I asked to be taken directly to a gathering of the 7 families. And I am standing in a circular gathering room. A representative of each of the families is seated in a semicircle, and I'm offered a seat as well. And my team is standing beside me. I asked them what they have to offer us at this moment, what they would like to see from us, and what insights they have from observing this moment in our history. And so I'm shown a river. It's not an earth river. The landscape is just enormous. And then it's almost like I think it's the Hopi prophecy about we're in a river and it's flowing very fast. And so the landscape is enormous, the river is broad and fast, and I'm watching beings caught in the fast current, and they are calling out, but not for help. They're enjoying the speed and the experience, and they begin to cluster together. And they're laughing and talking and flowing very quickly. And this is something new, this motion forward, unlike the timelessness that they had been experiencing. So it's almost like I was shown a metaphor for how we started to cluster together in this like whoosh, time. Whoa, it's big and fast. And then there was this longing from the families to return to that joyful gathering of that time. Now what they see is the beings in the river are no longer gathering together but fighting one another off, thinking that they cannot survive if they are together, but only if they're alone, that we've forgotten. And this is what they are seeing from the higher perspective, disintegration. And so they're asking to look into our own hearts and pluck out the strands of disintegration, to have the courage to integrate with others of our divine family, and to give an energetic model to those of other families so they feel safe enough to gather together again. And I am complete, and I will call on Carol.
I will only slightly apologize for this beautiful sun that is blinding me, but it doesn't stop the inner sight. As I listen to the rest of you, I sort of facetiously wish I had better control over my team, because you all just demand to be taken someplace and mine takes me where they want me to go. And I don't get to ask them questions, they ask me questions. They make me figure everything out. And that's how I believe that they're all from my same house, which is clarity. You can't lead until you can see it completely clearly. So started out with the intention of, show me the symbols, show me the frequencies in visual form. And instead, they take me through this little history course of all the ancient symbols of spirals, of labyrinths. I was shown various forms of labyrinths, like from the ones from South America, the Aztec or Mayan, they're more sharp. But everything that I was shown had circle sorts of rounded edges, and reversals. There were a lot of reversals. So they said, so what does this mean? Why did all these ancient peoples come up with these symbols that were reversals? They weren't going in one direction. They weren't clear. They weren't straight. What was this all about? Crop circles that they, see from a distance. What is this all about? And I understood that it was an attempt to recalibrate our human receptors, our bodies that had been disrupted by the outsiders. They broke our machinery. What they broke was our receiving and sending transmission ability. We could no longer receive because the transmitters and the receivers had been broken. So these things were like, okay, let's recalibrate. You know how now this is all coming to me now, you know how they say, if you have a cell phone and you want to get the compass to work on it, you have to like wave it through the air. Okay, so these were all about waving through the air. And then of course, the movements that I teach are all about, changing neural pathways and sharing the work that you've, picked up on, right side, left side. All of these are recalibration techniques. So then I said, okay, so it's one of these symbols. And they go, no, Carol, it's the Reiki symbols. I said, what? They said, remember how these symbols were originally found? They were originally seen in the most ancient of the Tibetan books that had been written in Sanskrit, that had been lost in India, but had been retained in Tibet. And so these very, very ancient symbols that were not Sanskrit, they were in Sanskrit texts, but they were symbols that were there without explanation. They had been received and they had been put in the books. And then when much later on, the Japanese guy sees these symbols again, because he had seen them in the books, didn't know what they meant. And then in the vision, he sees the same symbols and understands what they're for and what they were about. And then when we're taught these symbols, we are told, your job is to trace them exactly right in your, visually and in your mind, but they're not exactly right. Your guides will put them right. And then the Reiki guides are the guides that I've had throughout. So here they are now saying, see, these are these symbols. And they're all reversed. I mean, a lot of you have done Reiki, so there's these, and then there's the reverse chokure, there's one way that we learn it, and then there's another way. And then of course the seiheki, which has all these round things, which is the clearing one. And then anyway, so the instruction was clear. I was to take these reverse symbols and take them up to my house at the highest level. So I get this visual of them being planted way up here and then coming down through all of the galactic worlds, and then in the densest, lowest place on Earth. Now these signals now can be clear, completely clear between the two. We have the same symbols at the top and the bottom. And our job is to keep clearing this. And as soon as this realization was, and I put the symbols at the two places, all of a sudden my whole body went into this infinity symbol. This, the figure 8 on its side. and my eyes were closed, and it was just, my whole body was just going through this. It was visibly moving me through this. And that was my experience. And I am done. I will call on Tina.
Hello, everybody. This is my first introduction to the group, and so I don't know about all the 7 families and all that. But even before we were just starting on the guidance, I immediately saw like deep at night and literally up and down the Puget Sound area, and there were native tribes with fires throughout the area, and each tribe, each group was connected to each other, and they were very focused with their group and their circle of the ceremony, and connecting to each other and healing back through time, everybody, changing the DNA between each person and within each person, so that the physical and emotional pain of the planet is healed back through time, as it at the same time is coming forward to time now and beyond time into the future, and connecting to it. Just had this, the way to think about it is that this energy was on the planet in the Puget Sound area, but there was this sense of time and energy going back and forth, back in time and forward in time, and extending around the planet from those fires that were in the Puget Sound area. So I'm thinking like Whidbey Island, up and down the coast on all the different other islands there on the point of the Olympic Peninsula, so that it's almost like that whole Puget Sound area creating its own DNA connection. And so that's why it was all connected, but then also going up into the universe, back in time and forward in time, through our inner universe, into the next universe, into the next universe. And through time, as all this energy is going back and forth, and the communication kept coming back to the Puget Sound area and continuing to connect forward and back in time, and then started to create a new planet, a new solar system, and connecting and healing all the DNA forward in time and backward in time, so that we can actually create that next universe. And just this, I mean, it was just amazing to see even before we were being guided to what to do, I was seeing these fires, these communities throughout the Puget Sound area, of that we are here in the Puget Sound area. That is like the beginning of time and space. And that is where the beginning of the healing will happen, from today back in time and forward in time, and then at all levels.
Beautiful, Tina. Really. Welcome. Great.
And it's quite amazing. It's like the image for me is like, of course I'm a painter, and so I'm trying to figure out like how to actually paint that. And I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it might show up.
Yeah, beautiful. Kala?
Okay, I'm so blown away by all you guys. It's just, this group is just beyond amazing. And Kelly, I have to say, that is such a beautiful cloak. That is so cool. What a cool story. So I've related to everyone's. Mine kind of felt like I went in doing triage. So I went to all of the 7 families and I took love, and or my team did. We all took, just saturated them all in love to start the healing work, to restore them, to provide their basic needs, to support them immediately, and then to re-educate them to the natural ways that had been lost, assist in creating harmonious villages, and to validate their experiences, and the need to restore balance in nature. And then these things just kept dropping in. And then always be open to the breath of divine inspiration. Allow that flow. And then to use our eyes more to communicate. This is just something that popped in. Now that I was thinking, it was just this visualization of a mother holding a baby. The mom had a mask across her mouth and she was trying to communicate with her baby. And how sad that is. And but to use our eyes more to send messages to each other instead of our words and our mouths, is just to communicate with our eyes. And that kind of came out of the blue. So it just felt like an immediate need to get those things done quickly, and then move on with the creation of these beautiful communities. So I am complete. And Sharon?
Thanks, Kala. Mine was very simple. I was taken immediately to the 7 families, and putting a galactic bind glyph of the guardian circles to affirm that their agendas are absolutely secured and sealed. Their boundaries are so that there's nothing that will penetrate from that point of beginning forward. And what was also interesting, I really felt to do toning with the binds as I went through, and it was almost like the first family, which was an original, came birth, if you will, from home first. Family of Curiosity were there, and they kind of took their song like they were ambassadors of the glyph to give it to the other 7 families, and then I was told to create physical printed out form. So there is a glyph for every one of the families that I'm going to go put under the pyramid, under the broadcasting crystal that's held in my pyramid space. So that's what I did. So thank you all. Amazing. We would not know these things. We would not be anchoring these things. We would not be, they would not be present on the planet had you not been here today. This is amazing. And what an honor to be here with you guys. So I'm going to open up as we get ready to close and open. Yes, Emma.
Just a quick reminder for those who are participants in Women Remaking the World, we have a coffee chat in 5 minutes, and I'm going to log off now and say blessings because I have to start that call.
I'll be late, but I'll be there. Bye.
Thank you. Love you all.
I'm putting the link in the chat for those in the Women Remaking the World. Easily get there. It's a Zoom link, so you don't have to go to Facebook. Women Remaking the World is a project that's come out of the Collective Ground community. So
I want to say something.
yes.
When I think it was Tina was talking about our energy centers, I've been working on my energy centers, it seems like forever, and I can still feel their block. Not as much, but it's still blocked. Those are my receptors. And I can't figure out what to do. And while I was listening to everyone, what I got was that I need to set my intention to clear all my energy centers within my body. From the original time, the agenda of the block was put in place. And anyway, I was writing as faster than I was thinking. But anyway, because of today and the collective intention and energy, I feel like my energy centers are becoming unblocked because the power of this group and our collective intention is greater than what is left of the blocks. And so there's a transformation happening. So thank you, all of you.
I imagine, Sue, you also were just bringing that gratitude into you as well and experiencing it. And as it was doing it, it was dissipating all of your blocks. I mean, that was such a beautiful visual that you came up with. And it's, yeah, I was accepting the gratitude as you were talking. So.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Next Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific time. What's the old saying? I don't think I did it in my teenage year. Maybe my kids did, like be here or be square, or be there or be square, or something like that. That just came to mind. Okay.
Well, and Sharon, before we leave, let's just let Tina, there's other 2 classes or group things that we do, which is sort of similar. There's Crystal Broadcasters, which is led by Susan and Sharon, and they travel into the future and use the crystalline energy. And then the other one is the Guardian Circles that you've heard a little bit about. And that's where we add, we travel and we do pockets of protection around people, places, things, energies that need the protection from the outsider energy. So, and I think
that sounds really good. Yeah, because those are things that I've tried to do on my own, which is a lot to carry.
Tina,
there's a lot of work, especially. Yeah.
If you would like to put your email list into the chat, then I'll get you information about those other circles and how you can choose, check them out and then choose. I just need your email list an email so that I can get that information to you. Whoops.
I'll text her.
Okay. And
also, go ahead, Sharon.
No, go ahead, Tara.
I was just going to ask if anybody has, the rune thing is brand new to me. If Kelly or anybody else, if you have a resource that I can.
Oh, absolutely.
Kelly does.
Yeah, absolutely. Tara, I'll email you because I know I know there's another call. I'll email you some information.
Okay, super. Thank you.
Okay, you bet. Tina, you too?
Yeah, and Kella, I'd like it too. That would.
Okay.
If you want to send it to me, then I'll send all that information when I send the link to this YouTube.
Okay, absolutely.
Email that I have.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bet.
Thank you, loves.
Blessings.
See you soon. Bye.
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 Oh.